I owe Scoob an apology. Like, honestly, I despise that movie because it does a lot of the things that Tom and Jerry does. But Tom and Jerry it doubles down on certain things. It's worse in every capacity than Scoob. It breaks all the same rules.
You know, it took years for us to say it, but now that we finally realize it, we just put it out there. Tom and Jerry is weird. You know, all these years we used to talk about, how would you explain this? Well, it's a cat that always just chases a mouse, and that mouse is always beating his ass. I mean, that's it. But no, man.
With extreme violence.
With extreme violence. You wouldn't have the itchy and the scratchy without the Tom and the Jerry. But really, people, it goes beyond that. It has seemed to evolve into just complete weirdness as we've gone on through time. You know, we've had Tom and Jerry go to Willy Wonka's chocolate factory. There was that time they hung out with Jack Nicholson in The Shining. And, you know, they were there with him while he tried to kill his family. He tried to kill his family in the background. Tom and Jerry trying to kill each other. Back in the day, Tom and Jerry was crazy, man. Tom and Jerry was weird. They had weird rules. They didn't have anything that they really went by. For example, Tom never talked. He never said a word. But if he was trying to get some ass, he sang his ass off.
I got a gal always late. Is you wills or is you ain't my baby?
You know, it's funny because you
say that of all of us.
Well, the thing is, you ask Tom, and Tom never said a word. You ask him a question, like, but if he's trying to get some pussy, Figaro! Shit, he sang his ass off.
With those same motivations, we all discover skills we never knew we had.
Boy, mother learned they could fly trying to get some sex. Shit, I flew my ass out of town many a time. So I understand, Tom. It's just funny. Like, how that fool never talked?
Like, oh, I can suddenly speak Spanish.
Yeah. It gets weirder. They haven't talked for years, unless they're trying to get some ass. But they didn't say anything for years. Until, like, I don't know, about 20, 30 years ago.
You talked! How come you never spoke before?
Well, there was nothing I wanted to say that I thought you'd understand.
50 years?
What, this is an abomination. What is this?
That's the Tom and Jerry movie from the 90s, right? The 90s,
like 92,
yeah.
91?
No.
Yeah, when was this? Boy, that was the one that they tried to get us to watch. That was the one I almost won our bad movie review.
Oh, seriously? That's the one?
90. Yeah, this is 92.
Oh.
1992, the Tom and Jerry movie.
Oh, hell no.
Because some people even saying today, hey, man, I know y'all talking about this Tom and Jerry movie, but y'all ain't seen the shit I seen back in 1992.
Okay.
Yeah, this is that. Their relationship was crazy. Their relationship was schizo, man. They fight for years. They were like that couple that would fight and they ended up getting back together. They did that for years. They went through great animation. They went through dips in animation. Yeah. And with those dips in animation, their relationships would change. Sometimes they'd be trying to kill each other. And then the next minute, they just out there
best friends
doing trapeze and surfing with each other.
You'll begin with a grin when you first do the thing on the Tom and Jerry show.
Yeah, my buddy. Hey.
I remember this now.
Yeah. That was back in 75, man. The Tom and Jerry show.
Yeah.
Back when they didn't give a shit about the animation.
They did not.
You see him surfing, he was just water just doing this, and they just still.
Hanna-Barbera is beyond giving a shit at that point.
Back in the day, if they weren't caught up in craziness, the weird rules of this world that they're in, then they were caught up in controversy. Something that they still ain't living now. Jerry's a racist. The mouse, you can find plenty of things of him with blackface out there. And Tom wasn't exactly the racist one. That's why I rooted for Tom for a lot of years. But Tom always was getting in trouble by one of the biggest stereotypes on that show, the Mammy. The Mammy, who they call. In fact, they even gave her a name, not just Mammy, but Mammy Two Shoes.
Did they?
Well, slap my face if this ain't a mess. T-Line is up to something. Boy, when I lays my
You know, maybe Tom is racist too. Look at him. I'm gonna set this black bitch on fire.
Yeah, Jerry's actually trying to help him.
I know, he's like, no, it's too far.
Jerry,
No!
Jerry. Hey, man, I've done blackface. Don't do this, man.
Like, it's okay if you do it to me, but not to her.
They do have a couple of moments that are staples of cinematic history. And I'm not saying that with sarcasm either. People, that's Anchors Away from 1945. Had that sound turned down a little bit low on that because I thought I was going to be talking over it. But every time I see that, I just get caught up in watching it.
Sure.
So, you know, man, look, with so much crazy history that's everywhere with Tom and Jerry, you know, there's so many directions that they could go with a movie. And we saw one they took back in 1992, and it was not good. So, folks, where does this new movie fall? How much of that crazy history fits in here? I would say that there's a little bit of almost everything that we talked about up in there. Is that for better or for worse? Because I could go any kind of way, man. I could be bad. Could also be enjoyable. Let's take a look at the trailer for Tom and Jerry 2021.
Cause that's what friends are supposed to do. Oh, yeah.
That motherfucker. Gets him every time. You stupid cat.
Set him up.
Jerry's an asshole.
He is. Just right off the bat.
Right off the bat. I was moving all day yesterday as I kept reminding people. I'm exhausted right now. I was up till 3 in the morning watching this cartoon right here.
Goddamn.
I had to get up and do some more stuff. I'm exhausted right now. I'm drunk and I'm tired. And I ain't in the mood to bullshit with this right now. So I'm just going to get straight to it. You know, when you watch this, you know when we say that we love Pixar because they don't make pandering studio cash grabs like blank, fill in the blank. You would fill in the blank with Tom and Jerry.
That's be correct.
Tom and Jerry epitomizes everything that is wrong with the studio cash grab animated family feature. This is why Pixar don't, you know, they're the total opposite of what you see here. You know, this is a movie that doesn't know how to relate to kids. The way they think they relate to kids is with, you know, because when you have a movie like Pixar, they don't just try to relate to kids, they try to relate to everyone. Just because we are friendly of all ages doesn't mean that we're kids. We're strong storytellers. This is a movie that doesn't know how to appeal to anybody, but it does try to appeal to the kids with edginess. Now, we've seen edginess done in many ways. It's been done with extreme sports, you know, pretty much commercial spots for Mountain Dew in the middle of the fucking film while some character skateboarding or mountain biking or something, or dirt biking. It's been done with bringing in some random pop star and appearance that nobody even asked for, that didn't add to the movie at all. Or, in a lot of cases we see today, it's done with hip hop. Because hip hop is the most popular form of popular music. And when they put that in here, you know, that is a crutch that they lean on. Right at the beginning. People, before Tom and Jerry even come on, right at the beginning of the movie, they just throwing in random hip hop. Now, if you've seen the trailer, you have been introduced to the pigeons. Oh shit, these cartoon characters singing all these pop songs. I'm tired of this. No, people. Oh no, you wish.
Don't get tired yet.
You wish that they keep singing that pop song after you see what they do here, because they're not telling you what they do here. People, that would have been much better than what we actually see in the film. The movie opens with with them rapping. Now, they're not rapping Jay-Z's New York, or they're not rapping about the big city or anything, you know. They're not even rapping. Actually, they're lip syncing. They're doing fucking karaoke in the sky. And they're rapping, and I'm sorry, they are lip syncing and karaokeing this song right That's Just Can I Kick It by Tribe Called Quest. What the fuck these pigeons have to do with that? I don't know, other than Tribe is from New York. These pigeons are in New York. That's it. But I don't know outside of that. These pigeons don't even have anything to do with this fucking movie.
They don't. And Tim Story is the one who voices the pigeon.
That's why.
Yeah.
That's why they're in it.
Yeah. But yeah, I can only assume that Warner Brothers just already owns the publishing rights to that song. It's just why they stuck it in there. Because this whole movie is very low effort.
I thought those pigeons were going to be coming back in and kind of narrating the story.
Yeah.
Can you believe these motherfuckers are still fighting after all these years? And now they're in New York in my city tearing things up. I thought they're going to be a character. They are there for nothing other than to lip sync a Tribe Called Quest. They come in maybe one other time and don't have shit. Zero. Zilch. And for those of you who speak Espanol, nada to do with this fucking film. They got nothing. This is the laziest example of putting in hip hop to appeal to kids that I've seen in a long time. And the funny thing is that when they do this, man, if pigeons ain't rapping, if they're not putting in an R&B song, forcing in an R&B song, or even, I'm sorry, I say R&B because they do R&B. If they're not forcing hip hop in here, or even an R&B song, there's a point where Jerry's in his room just relaxing and he's listening to Jodeci. Can I talk to you? I really want. I'm like, unless he's got a hole in there, and he does not. I was like, I don't need to be forcing this in here. I could understand if he had a fine ass mouse chicken there. I'd be like, all right, I get it. But he's just forcing it in there, man. I would have watched an hour and a half of these pigeons doing karaoke hip hop if I didn't have to watch what comes next, because that's when Tom and Jerry enter, and that's when the real bullshit starts. And keep in mind that is like 5 minutes into the film. And I'm gonna tell y'all something, man. With this, Tom and Jerry, I talked about how I was with Tom, and I'm just bullshitting, man. The thing is with Tom and Jerry is that I was always a Jerry fan because man, look, Jerry just trying to live. Jerry, I understood that Jerry was. It's always the cat trying to eat this mouse, and the mouse is just trying to survive. And the mouse has said, you know what? I'm just trying to live, but if you're gonna fuck with me, I'm gonna do it back. It was a mouse standing his ground, standing up for just trying to live, man. I get it. I relate to that. You know, but when this movie opens up, you know, and I also get that these characters are constantly fighting, and that's what they're gonna be doing in the movie. And that irks me a little bit, but I also understand that that's what they do. I have no problem with that. Tom and Jerry are like they're the cartoon version of the Middle East, man. I don't know who started it. I don't know what initiated this whole conflict. I mean, with Batman and the Joker, you know, fucking Joker's an asshole. He's a criminal. He did something. Right. There's a lot of places you can go back to the source of what happened. But Tom and Jerry, I don't fucking know, man. I don't know who started it. I just assumed that Jerry just got tired of him trying to eat him and he fought back. But I don't know. But this particular movie right here, I'm on Team Tom.
Yeah.
Yes.
For days, man. Because I'm gonna tell you something about Tom. Tom, man, you saw at the beginning of this trailer right here how Tom is trying to do the right thing. Tom is like, we can't look, man. It's 2021. We've been doing this shit for over 50 years. We got to stop this somewhere, man. Mm-hmm. Somehow we got to make sense. And every time Tom tries to make peace with this goddamn mouse, this mouse turns on him, man. It ain't about survival anymore. It's just about being an asshole. You see that?
Yep.
Mm-hmm. And at the beginning of this movie, I'm not going to tell you exactly what's happening here. I'm not going to give away too many details, but I will tell you this. Tom is just trying to live.
Just trying to make it in the big city.
Tom in the beginning of this movie, Tom is minding his own business. He's trying to earn a kind of honest living. Mm-hmm. I mean, it ain't completely honest, but
that's kind of my one thing is that, at least with the original cartoons with Jerry, he was typically, presented as the protagonist of everything. He was the one that was always fighting against Tom.
Most of the time. Like, that's when you
generally think of these two characters, you think of Tom or as Jerry as the good guy, right? But with this movie, what it fails at is that you don't like either of them. Honestly, I mean,
I'll tell you why.
Because even Tom does some scummy things.
Well, let me tell you why in the beginning I like Tom. Tom ain't doing shit. Tom mind his own business. He might be. He might have an angle, but Tom got a. He's
entertaining the crowd. He's making money.
Tom got a hustle where Tom is just trying to come up, man. Tom is living in a cardboard box. I spent all my money on a musical instrument. I'm trying to just be a musician now. I'm trying to actually earn my money to eat, to buy something to eat. I'm not trying to eat mice no more. I ain't fucking with Jerry anymore. But Jerry followed his ass to New York. And while Tom is out there trying to get his hustle on, Jerry just out of nowhere fucks with him. Out of nowhere.
I know. And I thought, you know what? If a bum has a corner where he's borrowing money and another bum comes and sets up right next to him, he would beat the shit out of that guy.
I'll tell you what made me mad. And you heard Dave Chappelle say this. When they were fighting each other and tearing up the house and whatnot, that was one thing. But Tom was not messing with this mouse. And Tom was out there trying to make a living and just better himself. And Jerry came in and fucked with his livelihood.
Yeah.
He took money out his mouth. And from that point on, Tom is like, look, man, I tried. I got hit by a bus. I left you alone with that. I'm trying to make some music. I'm trying to be a musician. And you still won't leave it alone. So that ignites his whole war over again.
Sure.
I mean, I feel sorry for Tom because of like he has his dreams. He wants to apparently be John Legend. Yeah.
That fool sees himself. He sees John Legend. He's like, me and John, man, we're gonna be performing together one day. And that mouse came in and fucked it all up, man. Tom had dreams and hopes, man. He's like, Tom, when he looked up on that John Legend banner, he didn't see Jerry on there anywhere. He said, me and John, man, we're going to do this one day. And he could have had it.
Could have had it.
Until Jerry came and messed it up, man.
I will say Jerry does the more despicable things in this movie than Tom, but Tom's still an asshole. So, neither of them. I don't care for any of them.
I can address that. I can tell you why. Because, look, I kind of get it in a way with Jerry. Jerry says, this is, hey, man, you trying to make it today. I get it. But for 50 years, you have been trying to murder me. So, no, I don't forgive that easy. Maybe that's the thing. Maybe I get it. There could be an argument for both of them. But when you get down to the movie, this whole thing that they got going on where they're chasing each other and beating the shit out of each other and destroying things, just leaving destruction in their wake, it either makes sense in a very short capacity where you got those short cartoons.
Oh, yeah.
Or you got to have a better story for them to do this. This movie does not have a strong story to support their constant fighting over and over again.
And that's the thing. When we've seen the 6-minute shorts, it works. And even when you bring a human in, that human is a device. You only see their legs, or they talk for a few seconds, and it's really all about Tom and Jerry.
There's not a story to support just this simple thing of them beating the shit out of each other. Look, we can watch that in a very short story, and they would probably have a simple premise to make it happen. But they don't have a story. And if they had one, fine, man. I don't care. I'll even tell you this much. If they had a way to justify the hip hop in this movie, if Tom somehow chased Jerry so far they ended up in New York and they went to the Bronx and ran to a neighborhood of hip hop cats and they start rapping, I'd be like, all right, this still might be slightly cringy, but I get it. There's a purpose for it.
Yeah.
There's no reason for it here. What you have, though, is this bullshit story about how Chloe Grace Moretz, who plays Kayla, she's in town, got no work ethic. She's a terrible employee. And she's also a con woman. Yeah. And so what she does is she goes in and cons her way into a position. And speaking, her and Jerry are match made in heaven. Man, I don't even know why she's trying to get rid of this mouse because she messes with other people's livelihoods. She tries to get a job at this fancy hotel which she's not qualified for, but she ruins one other woman's job, doesn't fight for other people's job that she's ruined, and still ends up working here. And what she's doing there, she's trying to coordinate this big wedding for this celebrity couple played by Colin Jost and Pallavi Sharda. It is so much of this movie that is bent on, since this is a movie, it's not just about Tom and Jerry chasing each other. It's about, one, we got the property. Not only do we have to find a reason to make these big production scenes, these set pieces of them fighting, we got to make that bigger. Where in the cartoon, it was fun. It was just all right, the fighting is fun. No, they got to make these big epic scenes here. they pretty much cause like natural disasters. Also, it's just a way to regurgitate all of the old gags, all the old physical humor, some of the characters that we already know. It's all a way to just regurgitate all those things. The way studios do lazy nostalgia all the time. Colin Jost, he owns Spike. Spike comes in, Spike sees Tom. Tom is chasing Jerry. They start fighting each other, and then it's the same shit that we always seen. But no, wait a minute. This time in 2021, it's done with bigger special effects. And oh my God, the fighting dust cloud this time, man, shit, it might kill people. The dude's like, you said, what the fuck? He's like, man, I used to watch this show. I ain't never seen this shit like this before. And also get that camera off me before I get caught with this young girlfriend. Oh, Jerry, you asshole. You know, I keep talking about Jerry. Jerry's such an asshole.
Yes.
Man, the thing is, man, Jerry, like I said, I used to be team Jerry. Now I'm just Tom all the way, because even later on in the movie, Jerry's just he's just a piece of shit. Like when he goes there, because I tell you something, the whole premise is Jerry is the chain reaction that ruins everybody's lives in this movie. Jerry moves into the hotel. He's asked to politely behave or leave. He's a fuck you, bitch. And since he's there, they got to bring Tom in because Tom is there, Spike is there, and all this shit goes crazy. If Tom had just behaved himself, if Tom had just been cool, they might have let him stay. If Tom had just not been a dick.
You mean Jerry?
I mean, I'm sorry, Jerry.
Yeah.
If Jerry had not been an asshole about it. I mean, look at Jerry. Jerry doing Xeroxes the moment he got there before anybody was there.
Yeah, because Chloe Grace Moretz, she's a con woman herself. Mm-hmm. So grifter recognizes a grifter. And it's like, hey, look, you be cool and I don't lose my job and I'll let you stay. But he can't just do that.
He's got to go abuse the equipment. He's got to go turn up his music loud. He's got to destroy property. And on top of that, he's a thief.
Stop it! Both of you!
Why do you have Prita's ring? Have you had it this entire time? Give it to me. Now, drop the ring.
You heard that, bitch. Let go. I work for her. You know, he's what you say? He's
a kleptomaniac, yeah.
He's got a problem, man.
It's like, why does he need that ring? Just like, because I want its print. That's all. He just puts his apartment, just like, that's what I look at.
It's the precious.
Yeah. He's like a ferret. A ferret sees shiny things they wanted. I guess that's appropriate for a rodent, but you're right, he doesn't need it. No. He just takes it, and then he uses it to hold over her head. He's also an extortionist. He's like, man, you know what? It's like, forget setting up mousetraps. Call the police on that bitch, man. He's brown. They'll shoot him.
Because before this, he was homeless and had nowhere to stay. And somebody said, like, well, you might try that hotel. And he goes there, and it's like, all right, keep a low profile. They don't need to see me, but no.
Oh, there's his low, ostentatious. There's his low profile right there.
Yeah,
Jerry's such. You know, watching all this, that ring, by the way, that belonged to the celebrity couple, and he just stole it. He knows what's at stake. He brought attention to himself.
Yeah.
It's like, man, just be really. The whole time I was like, man, look, I hate to say this like a grown man talking to a cartoon, but I was like, just be cool, man.
You know what it is? I think, to your point earlier, Tom's just trying to live his life. Okay, I'm done with this whole thing. Jerry's like, I can't live without you, Tom. We have to keep this going no matter where I have to follow. Wow, it's been too long.
No, his identity is too wrapped up in it.
Stockholm syndrome.
Because if you aren't chasing me, then what am I?
He got no purpose in life.
I don't understand what I'm supposed to be rooting for.
Yeah, yes. and Michael Pena, by the way, it's not like he's a great character in the movie. He plays the Major D of the hotel. The only reason I feel bad for him is they try to make him a villain, and he's clearly not a villain.
He's not.
He's there, and he's trying to expose her for what it is, and he's just being shafted, man. They try to put him out later in the movie like, oh, look at this asshole, man.
It really kind of annoyed me in that, they try to paint him as the, oh, look at this asshole trying to go after this young girl. And they try to make him silly with the thicker accent. Yeah. Like, oh, you're supposed to not root for him because he got a thick accent. But it's like, no.
Nah. And he's just, when he's not there to be the villain that's not really a villain, he's just there to get his ass beat by these cartoon animals.
Mm-hmm.
I might be in the minority here, I'm sure, but I like Chloe Grace Moretz. Again, I look at the movie that she's in, and I don't judge her by that. I'm seeing her expand her range into more comedic territory, and I think that she can actually do it. I liked her. I think she can handle it. It's just not a good movie for her to do this in. It's not much for her to do except interact with these characters that don't exist, and that don't exist in a very good film. So, I mean, I'm willing to give her a chance for another film to see if she can handle this. But I did like her. I said, man, she's come a long way. This is going to be a very unpopular opinion here, but I didn't have a problem with the animation. I don't think it's terrible. They're in a middle ground where they're trying to make 3D CG animation look like 2D. There are some things they could have played with. I think it works in some areas. I think they're getting close to actually mimicking that. I don't know if they need to like play with the frame rate or whatever, but it's still noticeable and it's off-putting. But I don't think it's terrible. I think that it just has a little ways to go. I know everybody thinks it's terrible. I don't blame you because it looks weird.
My whole thing is like, Who Framed Roger Rabbit did it, why can't you?
Well, the reason,
and that's the big thing.
Well, I can tell you why, because Who Framed Roger Rabbit was 2D animated. That was done by hand. With enhanced with computer effects, shadows and whatnot. They are trying to actually mimic 2D animation in 3D. It's just they haven't got it, to the point where it completely, at least to us, looks like 2D animation. But then again, I put that on me because I might just have this eye for 2D animation to the point where other people don't. So, and the other people might not notice that. But that's just me.
I guess I could ignore the faulty animation if they at least did something interesting with it.
I think it's interesting what the approach that they took, because in this world, all animals are animated. Because we wonder if they would do this. Mm-hmm. But yeah, here it is, man. They like all the animals are animated. So, but that brings up more questions. It's like, okay, so this is a world where animals are sometimes hired as like human beings to do a job. And then some of them are kept as slaves. Yeah. And then some of them are just killed for food. So while that's an interesting concept, and I like that concept, I'm like, all right, but that gets disturbing after a while. Yeah. It's like, all right, so all these animals that have human traits, all these animals that could be doing human jobs, the chickens that we eat, are they in concentration camps now and all like begging for their lives and shit?
Well, if they're working, they're fine. But.
Get a job, because if not, your ass is dead. Because people, there was a moment that they showed, and I think I saw this, but I did see the scene with the fish.
The fish and the cut up steak, like zebra
That's
steaks.
what I saw. Yeah. Okay, I did see that because I had my head down for a little bit. So in this world, apparently, if you eat meat, if you get a steak, tell me if I'm wrong. If you get a steak, the steak looks like a cartoon.
It does, yeah. They show that. It's in Ken Jeong's kitchen. Yeah. That's what he was yelling at everybody, yeah.
They had steak like cartoon.
Zebra steak and elephant steak and all sorts of different animals.
That's disturbing.
Yeah.
Yeah, so these animals, because you see the animals, you could hire them to do a human's job. But if they can't get a job, then just fuck them, eat them.
Yeah, I think that might be the case. It's a dark world we live in.
So that's a weird thing to think, man. Just the idea of just getting a cartoon steak. That's all.
That would be funny.
What is this?
When you order shrimp cocktail, the shrimp has fucking like eyes that are looking at you and shit. Like, that cartoon shrimp. This is fucking weird. Yeah. Yeah. It's disturbing, man. It's weird.
It just shows how they didn't really take any time to
think it through.
Put a lot of effort into the world building itself.
Somebody said, y'all trying to make some bullshit. Y'all trying to make some bullshit some sense. Yeah, that's true.
Yeah, we're trying.
Yeah, that's true. Don't put logic into this. You're right. Let me walk away right now.
Yeah,
you ain't gonna drive me crazy.
We're gonna get stuck in there.
Me sitting the people.
No. I guess okay. Yeah, I guess I give it a high
fucking room writing formulas on the wall and shit. Cartoon meat. How is it made? What's the texture? Rubbery.
Rubber hose, yeah.
You try to chew it. Boing. How do your turds come out?
Those are animated. Those are live.
Animated turds. Do your turds come back to life? I've had a huge problem with animation over the years. And if you ask anybody who is either honest about animation or a person of color that's followed animation, it has had diversity problems where it has pretty much just exploited black culture. And this movie does that. With all the hip hop that they have in here, it's another one of those movies where it tries to get it uses black culture for cool points. But it puts all the black characters on the side or in the background.
Well, I think all of the animated characters are voiced by black people.
But I was going to get to something else.
Mm-hmm.
They are voiced by black people. Mm-hmm. But when they're voiced by black people, this is another thing. Because I've complained about this for a lot. In animation, even half animated movies, they've used black culture to either add to the music, the coolness, the rapping or the soul. I've talked about Lion King a lot with this. They're in fucking Africa. They got all the white people to voice except for James Earl Jones, who fucking dies. They got all the white people to voice all the main characters. But who did they bring in to sing? Who did they bring in for comedy side characters? And that's what they do here. So, it's okay to voice the characters in the movie. And maybe I wouldn't even have a problem with that if these characters weren't the stereotypes that these fucking movies like. They either have to be hip-hoppity or they have to be exaggerated and talk jive in a way. And that's what they fucking do here, man. And that's a problem to me compared to what Tom and Jerry came from. We talked about how that Mammy character was problematic because she came in and talked in that stereotypical way.
Sure.
And this movie does it. Now, as I said, a lot of the more diverse characters are either side characters or they're cartoon characters who are side characters.
Staff.
Yeah. That one bartender.
Yeah, and I'm going to talk about that in a minute, that bartender. Yeah, but, they got the alley cats here. They got Nicky Jam, who's voicing Butch. Butch is an old character from back in the day, and he used to talk like a character from that time. Hey, Tom, are you going to help me catch the cat? They had that kind of talk. Like, they got Nicky Jam here to do that. Nicky Jam is a reggaeton artist, famous reggaeton artist. Y'all probably know him if you listen to Daddy Yankee or anything. But they got him doing the voice. All right, that's cool, whatever. Still a side character, and they got him to do an animated character. But listen to how some of the other fucking characters on the side sound.
Well. That's sure what it looks like.
This is our alley pump, which makes this our hotel.
Wait.
Yeah, baby. You tell me.
I'm like, fuck you, man. How much different is that from Mammy fucking Two Shoes?
Thomas, why you two-timing, double-crossing, no good cheap?
Oh, fuck off, man. Fuck this movie
Is that
for
not
that,
the same
man.
voice?
Was that?
That's not the same voice.
No, it's not the same. No, but it's the same tone. And they didn't try to, even though they put a different voice in it, did the same thing.
Yeah.
It kept the same inflection. And I'm just kind of like, fuck off, man. And a lot of people, I don't mind saying it, because a lot of people, you read too much into it. Oh, man, just enjoy the film. It's a fucking problem. And I'm not the only one who has said it. And I've seen it for years. I said it with The Lion King, and people are like, you're full of shit. All right. I'll be full of shit then. But that's a problem with animation, and it's shown right here. Because while they do that, they have these characters coming in, and they love these characters coming in and fucking cooning it up, jiving it up, laughing it up. But, all these other lead characters, well, we know who those are played by. And even when it comes to live action characters, and I'm going to tell you, they got Jordan Bolger, who plays the bartender here. And I guarantee if this was a white actor, they would have had a romance with them. But there's no romance. It's like, hey, let me just, this motherfucker been trying to get with that. Come on. Chloe Grace Moretz is a beautiful girl, man. And he would have been trying to do that. But they cut his dick off and he's just like, hey, how can I help you get your job back?
Yeah, he's relegated to the mystical, magical black man.
He sure is.
Come to me for advice and I'll tell you how to do it.
But at the same time, he's an upstanding guy who's working his job.
He is.
She's kind of a piece of shit. So him getting with her would be a step down for him.
But that doesn't matter because he's the same character. He's a side character who's given no big plot line. What he is, his job is to help her out and not even get with her in the movie. Yeah. Because if there'd have been anybody else, they would have been like, this is the perfect setup for a romantic subplot.
I thought that's what
and they didn't do it. And it is straight up, like you said, he recognized some straight up magical, mystical nigga. What is he there for? To help her.
No. I agree with that because even later on when he should be like, ew.
Repulsed by her,
he's revelation. Like, well, maybe what can I do to help you out?
Well, no, there is a point where he's repulsed by her. There's a point where he says, "You lied to me." But people, they have that line in movies where it's like, I was falling for you and you lied to me. What would he give a fuck if she lied to him? He was like, I don't know her. You know, she came to the bar. We had some shots. Yeah, okay. Oh man, that chick, she got fired, man. Yeah, I guess that bitch was kind of crazy anyway. Somebody in the chat said, yes, he's a token, man.
Oh, he is.
Yeah.
Nah, this guy, no, he's a straight up fucking token, man. I have an equal as much animosity towards this movie for just being a film that is so lazy and that we have no story to tell. We have no real characters to develop here. All we have is this way of appealing to kids that we think is edgy. And I'm sorry, man. I don't even think you don't have to be Pixar. You don't have to be Disney. You don't have to do any of that. All you got to do is just tell a simple story, not just try to bring in the laziest straight line that you think will appeal to kids so you can get your money. And that's what this movie did. It's straight up some old bullshit for me.
For the hour and a half or however long it's on, there's sort of that wait for it to get better, but it pretty early on, maybe within 10 minutes, you know it's not going to. It's like, all right, if you aren't digging it by the end, there's no reason to keep going with the thing. And it's just too bad to watch them have this opportunity and squander it the way they do. Because they could have done something that would have made you want to see more and more and buy merchandise. But by the time this is done, it's like, all right, well, what else is on? I've found this to be a high sum of bullshit.
I owe Scoob an apology. Like, honestly, I despise that movie because it does a lot of the things that Tom and Jerry does. But Tom and Jerry it doubles down on certain things. It's worse in every capacity than Scoob. It breaks all the same rules. It's like, hey, let's throw in random music that has no place in here. Let's have just bad acting across the board, an uninteresting premise. Yeah, I'm gonna go lower than you guys. This is the very definition of a fuck you film.
I'm almost there with you, man. I'm so offended by this film, man, but what they're doing. You know what? Fuck it, man. I'm gonna get this movie. No, I was so close. I'm gonna get this movie fuck you because I'm really tired of what they're doing with the depiction of the culture and people of color in these movies, man. I'm fucking tired of it. And they've been doing it for years. And it's even a problem to where I talked to Kemp Powers, who even, you know, we talked about this. It was like, man, this is a problem in animation. You know, this is what in big studio animation, this is what they do with people of fucking color, man. You go in there and you mine the fucking culture and you relegate the people responsible for the culture. You put them in the fucking background. So fuck this film, man. Yeah, this movie's a fuck you. I'm right there with you, man.
Gee, I wonder why they didn't get it to us early on Thursday.
Yes.
You know what?
They saw you too. They went, oh no, oh no.
I can't blame them, man. I can't. You know what? Keep this away from me unless you want to hear what I have to say.
They can't disparage it until it's already out there.